Hi, I'm Chas, and you're watching Chas's Crazy Creations. To start this project, you'll need a 4-pack of candle holders, and I found my 4-pack at Dollar Tree. Next, using apple barrel orange paint, I poured the paint into the candle holder and I started to swirl it around so it would coat the entire inside of the candle holder. Once I got to the edge, I went ahead and kept swirling and poured the excess back into the bottle so I'd be able to use it for a future project. Next, I repeated this process with each of the other candle holders. I started with apple barrel green paint, swirling around and dumping the excess into the container for future use. Next, I used apple barrel multi-surface paint in the color white and repeated this process with the white paint in the next candle holder, swirling it around and saving the excess for a future project. And lastly, on the 4th candle holder, I did apple barrel multi-surface paint in the color black, swirling it around and dumping out the excess. One of the reasons I'm a big fan of this paint is that it's easy to work with and it's water-based, so it's easy to clean up whether it's your hands or your surface. As you'll note, I did cover my surface so that I could protect it. After I painted each of the candle holders, I tipped them upside down to let the paint continue to drip out of them. I let them dry completely before moving on. This process can take a little time, and if you'd prefer, you could use a paintbrush and paint in there instead. After they were dry, I grabbed a permanent marker and I drew a pumpkin face onto the orange one. With the white candle holder, once it was dry, I used a permanent marker and I drew a ghost face onto this candle holder. With the green candle holder, I went ahead and drew on a Frankenstein face. With the last candle holder, I used a silver Sharpie and I drew on a vampire or a bat face, whichever way you prefer to look at it. Once all of these were completed, I left them as is to dry. You could also coat them with dishwasher safe Mod Podge to protect them from the marker wiping off. One of the great things about this project is these can be adapted for any holiday or season. I placed some pumpkin scented tea lights into each of these candle holders. Now, alternatively, you could use some battery operated tea lights instead. So inexpensive and easy. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. I'm so excited to bring you this super easy project, and all 3 of these items came from Dollar Tree. So just a ghost and a pumpkin, and then these galvanized words that are a set of 3. So to start, I'm going to remove these tags. So this project is only going to cost you $3 to make. Now I'm going to start by turning over the pumpkin so the knots are side up. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then this ghost, it doesn't matter which way, but we're going to take the ghost, and what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to add a little hot glue here. And then I'm going to place this knot into the hot glue, and then I'm going to let that dry completely before moving on. Next, I'm going to flip these back over, and I'm going to show you these 2 parts right here. So we've got my 3 words. We've got haunted, spooky, and beware. So I'm going to start with the word haunted, and what I'm going to do is I need to leave room for this to be hung, but I am going to hot glue this word right here to the top. I'm going to add spooky to the middle, and then we'll talk about where we're going to add beware. So let's do spooky first, and I see that my ghost is a little twisted, so let me get him untwisted. There we go. And so I'm going to grab my word spooky, and I'm going to add a little hot glue right to the center of the word here, like this. And then I'm going to stick it to the twine like this. And I'm going to let that cool. So for the word haunted now, I need to do the same thing. So I have to kind of find where it's going to be centered. And this one's a little trickier since this one has 2 pieces. So it looks like I'm going to aim for my hot glue on maybe the W, or the N, I'm sorry, the N, the T, and the U. So let's go ahead and add that hot glue now. to here, and then was up here, and then down here. And now we're gonna try to aim the hot glue in those places. So what I ended up doing is flipping this up so I could see a little better what I'm doing. So I want try to aim my spots to the same places, and I'm gonna put that twine in the hot glue like so, and let that cool completely. So this one's cooling completely, and if they're a little crooked, that's okay, right? Because it's Halloween. So those are cooling, and now I've got just some of my own twine here, which I've kind of guessed about the right size. I want to maybe try to make them similar in size, but again, so I'm just tying a little knot in here with this twine. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did up here. So I'm just going to add some hot glue down here to the ghost. And then I'm going to add that knot into the hot glue. And then I'm going to take this last word, so let me slide this up, the beware word. And I need to make sure that when I flip it back over, it's the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and unravel this right here. And I'm going to hot glue right here so that word is in the middle. And I can see that right here is a great place to add that glue. So I'm just going to run a line of glue here like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick this twine in that glue. I can always add more glue if I want to make sure it stays. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I can see it might need a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and let that cool. And then ultimately your sign is done, and we'll be checking it out in 1 second here to see how easy that was. Now, let me tell you, if you wanted to, this could be an easy wind spinner as well. So if you wanted to hang it on the back of the door, it'll make all of these lay flat. If you hang it up just in the air, it's going to spin like a wind spinner. So that's another way. And then you might want to hot glue this piece and hot glue the top, but the bottom you may want to tie in somehow instead to give it some more free form spinning. But let's take a look at that really quick. So here's the sign all done, and this is what I mean about the wind spinner. So it could swivel and move around if you left it hanging somewhere where it can float around. So that's one option. If you put it up against something, it's going to stabilize against the door and hang nice and flat. So that's what I'm intending to do. So let's go hang it up and see how it looks. Here it is inside my home, and this is on the inside of my door. But you could also place this on the outside because of the galvanized sign. It will hold up in the elements. Which way would you hang it up? Let me know in the comments below. I found these bandanas at Walmart for super cheap, and I went ahead and grabbed 2 of them for my upcoming project. I removed all the tags, and here is the handkerchief or bandana opened up. I flipped it over so the wrong side is now facing up. I then took a second bandana, opened it up, and placed it right side facing up. So now the 2 wrong sides are facing each other. For my next step, I'll be using my hot glue gun, and I made sure it was good and warm and ready to be used. I lifted up the top bandana so that I could see the bottom bandana, and I hot glued along the white line of the bandana on one side and then pressed the top to the bottom to seal the top and the bottom together. I then continued to do this to both the second and the third sides of the bandana. So 3 of the 4 sides were glued shut. I had one side that was left open. I had some stuffing from a former pillow that I had that was falling apart. I placed this stuffing inside the 2 bandanas that I had glued together. I then used my hot glue gun to seal the final side so the pillow was entirely enclosed. Alternatively, you could use some hook and loop fastener to place on both sides that is self-adhesive so that you could get in and out of your pillowcase to wash it a little easier. After the pillow was enclosed, I went ahead and fluffed the pillow. I wanted to make sure the stuffing reached all the corners and gave it the pillow look that I was looking for. This project was super easy to do, and I love how the pillow turned out, and it can be used in so many different places of our home. Want to be notified of future videos? Look for the link in the description below. For this project, you're going to need flower pots in any size of your choice. I'm using the mini size for this project. I started by painting my first flower pot with apple barrel orange paint. I painted the entire thing completely, and then I let it dry. For my second flower pot, I used apple barrel paint in the color green. I painted the entire flower pot with the green paint and then let it dry completely. Now it's up to you if you want more than one coat or not per your flower pot. So after they dry the first round, you can take a look and see if they need a second coat. For my next flower pot, I used apple barrel multi-surface paint in the color black. I painted the flower pot completely and then let it dry. I love acrylic paint by Apple Barrel because it is water-based, so it's easy to clean out of your brushes. If you get it on your hands, it's just easy to clean off because it's water-based. For my last flower pot for this project, I painted the last flower pot with Apple Barrel paint in the color white. I did use the multi-surface paint as it tends to go on a little more solid. Some of the other white paints can be a little more translucent and take more coats. I let all of the flower pots dry completely before moving on to the next step. For this next step, I used a black Sharpie marker and I drew a pumpkin face onto the orange pumpkin, and then I let the marker dry. For the white flower pot, I used a black permanent marker and I drew on a ghost face, and then I let it dry completely. For my green flower pot, I drew on a Frankenstein face. Now, one thing I want to note as I'm drawing this face on for you is that this project can be done and adapted for any holiday or any occasion. So think about all of the possibilities of what you could create doing this simple and easy DIY. For my last flower pot, I used a silver Sharpie and I drew on a black cat face. Now you can change these up to anything you like. Now, once all your faces are done, you're going to let them dry completely, and it's really up to you if you want to leave them as is or give them a coat. And you could also paint the inside of the flower pots if you like as well. If you wanted to coat them, you could use an acrylic spray paint or you could use a dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I added some candy corn to each of these, and now they're a cute little treat. And again, you can adjust the flower pot size to suit your needs. I think these would make great little snack holders on Halloween night on your Halloween table or tablescape. Want 21 sensible home hacks to make you a smarter homeowner? Look for the link in the description below. To do this first project, this is just a glass lampshade that I got at a garage sale. Actually, I got 4 of them, super inexpensive. And then this is my permanent marker. And so what I'm gonna do here is just draw 2 eyes right here like this. And color them in like so. And what I've created is an easy ghost. Now I can either put a candle, a battery operated LED or tea light, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place a solar light in the top and set these outside. Now this project is super easy and you can do something with any bottle or recyclable jar that you want. This one happens to be grenadine syrup and it's super, super old. I got it from my mother-in-law and she hasn't used it in years, but I don't feel like we're gonna use it. But with this red color, how easy is that to set somewhere as a potion jar? And all I need to do is leave it like this. And if you don't have, obviously, grenadine hanging out, you just add water to a container and food coloring. So you can make a green potion jar, a red potion jar, anything you want. If you use different shapes, maybe you want to add some eyeballs or bugs in there as well. But how simple is this? Then if you want to, you can leave it like this. You can take your lid and add some fun to it if you want. But you can also look for these Halloween transfers. These happen to be at the dollar store, and these are like tattoos. So you just cut them off and then use water and stick them on here. Now with this being a dark color and these, I'm not sure they're really gonna show up, so I don't think this is gonna work for this particular one, but I have added them to water in the past with food coloring in it, and they work great. And I'll show you an example of that now. So here's another example of a bottle you could use for a potion jar, or just even a creepy candle holder. So this is just a grape juice bottle that I've removed the label from. Again, add water, add food coloring. You can add a candle to the top, those potion tattoos to them. But here's just another example of a shape you could use to have some fun with the potions lab. So I just finished adding the tattoo to this bottle. I'm gonna add some food coloring and then I'll place it outside. I added a little green food coloring to the inside. These are just giant googly eyes from Walmart. You can find them at the dollar store too. I'm going to add them to some bushes outside in our yard to create a creepy monster. This project can be used all fall, which I love, and it's such an easy project to store. So I've just got some fabric that I love and a toilet paper roll. And now all I do is take the fabric and pull it up and stuff it in the hole. And you can pull it as tight or as loose as you want. But I'm gonna work my way around this whole piece of fabric, or the whole toilet paper roll, I should say. And you can, again, make it as tight, layer it, whatever you wanna do. Tuck it in to make it smooth, like so. And so it looks like this. So that's our base. Then I have taken just a stick from outside and I place that in the middle. That makes my pumpkin. And then what I did here was just cut out a piece of felt and I made a loop out of some pipe cleaner. And to get this curlicue, all you have to do is wrap it around a pencil. And then I place that inside, and now I have this fun, easy pumpkin, and it's also a toilet paper holder if you want. But when you're done with the season, you just take all this apart and it packs away really nicely. I hope this inspires you to make some Halloween decor for your home. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog at chascrazycreations.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.